But what's one simple method that can help instructors identify a learner's ZPD and match the scaffolds to it?
Okay, so just to give our learners a heads up about what we're talking about here, we're talking about Vygotsky's zone of
Yes.
proximal development and the scaffolding also, which is another. It's said that it was taken from him, but let's just define the concept. Scaffolding is guided support given at an appropriate level. That's basically it. It begins with demonstration or example, and it's followed by student action with feedback along the way. Now, the ZPD is the potential held by an individual learner to go further than they might do alone. So the Vygotsky might say that in close collaboration relationship, the student is in the zone of proximal development. If it results in the learners learning more than they could by working independently, so it's a social learning by its concept. Learner happens twice. Firstly, from the outside in the social world, then secondly when it becomes internalized. And the language is the medium, the dialogue and the interaction, that they are the means by which the individual comprehend the social world. So we gave an example about we were talking about having like testing the prior knowledge and having discussions. So this is the social learning part. After that, the learner, what will do is, this is an example, of course, of or a simple method to answer your question. We talked
Hmm.
about it, having discussions. So the learner will after this discussion, they will try to internalize their own thinking and come to a conclusion where they make some ideas about what they learn. But it's very important to know when to answer and when to ask the questions. Uh, about the prior learning. When the students ask questions, or uh, we are expected to answer them as instructors, right? But
Right.
what we do is we don't prefer, like I usually, when we discuss with our teachers, we tell them, do not answer the students' questions right away. Try to make them look for the answer. But it's very important to know when to do that. I remember in one of our I do supervision meetings with our students, like bi-weekly, just to check their performance, how they are doing, how in general. So one of the students complained about this. Actually, he told me, like, when we asked the teacher, I was telling them, how is the teacher doing, how is everything, are you doing well? They said, he said, like, when we ask this the teacher, he doesn't answer us, he just keep asking us questions. I told them, yeah, of course, he shouldn't do that. You should look for the answer. If you cannot
Right.
find it, he will help you, because I understand what the teacher is doing, of course, because I do that with my students. But it's sometimes you just to know when to do that. You don't have to overdo it. Sometimes just you need to give them the answer because they want it to they're not in the mood to search. They want, like, ChatGPT. Remember we were talking in the previous episode about, like, just going directly to ChatGPT, just ask them question because it's easier and faster. They don't want to get out of their comfort zone and to do the hard work by thinking and searching. So it depends on, the instructor will assess when to do that. Now for the employees, it's the same thing, but it's with different tools. For example, once the ZPD is identified, we can match support based on what kind of gap the employee has. Is it cognitive gap, skill gap, confidence gap? If it's a cognitive gap, we can use guided questioning or job aids, things like that. If it's skill gap,
Right.
we can use demonstration, peer monitoring, things like that also. Confidence gap, we can do quick wins, affirmation. So it depends on the context and what we are talking about.
Right, exactly. Because we want to make sure it's not a one size fits all and that we're tailoring the learning to what
Correct.
what those learners need, right? Yeah, that's so important. I love that. Wow. And I love that example that you gave. That was great. The examples really help drive it home because it's almost like when we learn the models and the theories, unless we actually have an example or see it in practice, it's really hard to wrap your brain around it. So I love having those
Yeah.
examples.